2,760 species. Yeah. But if we include the islands, Azores and Madeira Islands, we go to 2,957. So almost 200 species exist in the islands, Azores and Madeira, that don't exist in mainland. Yeah. Most endemics or more island related. Madeira is quite good. It's only 2 islands, so Madeira and Porto Santo, and it still has 198 species because technically it's more south, so it's more warm, better habitats. Azores is 9 islands, but they only have recorded 107. So I reckon there's a lot of, lack of sampling. So not people doing moth traps enough in Azores. I'm sure there's a lot of things to be found in Azores. Yeah. And then there are 7 species that exist in both Azores and Madeira. So they don't exist in mainland, but exist in both islands. And here we have some examples of moths and butterfly there that exists in the islands. So these are just islands species.
That one in the middle, that Eparchia species is summer flying. It's July, August.
Yes, summer always. Eparchias,
and the highlands of the island.
In the islands, you almost can find it anywhere because they do come down a lot with the winds and everything else. But mainly, as high as you go, the more you see, basically. But they do spread a lot and fly down and stuff like that, and then go back. Yeah. But it depends, of course, on the islands. So I have one species here, but in Azores you have several subspecies, and even some species already are considered separate, like Miguelensis. So it's Eparchia miguelensis, so it's already a different species from the other Eparchias from the other islands. So yeah. So this is basically how everything started. 1992, around 1992, I saw for the first time Vanessa Atalanta, so the red admiral. So first time I saw a butterfly and I said, what is that? Wow, butterfly! Oh. I got my camera, and my camera was, those rudimental 6x zoom VHS-C cameras. So everything was analogic, so quite strange. But from here, basically, I start to take more attention and I take more pictures and pictures and pictures. So the first thing is, like everybody else, when you start to study something, you look for books, guidebooks. And in Portugal at this time, there was nothing. The only thing there was German books from Reader's Digest. I don't know if you know this brand thing, that they translate everything from German to Portuguese. And then we'll buy the book and say, oh, look at this species. And then it was like Euphydrias matura or something like that. They don't exist in Northern Europe. And I was identifying my Euphydrias aurelia as that species because I didn't have any information. And so in 1998, because I took so many pictures from that 92, 93 to 98, I decided I'm going to publish my own book because there's nothing in Portugal. I didn't know anyone else at the time that worked with butterflies or moths. Nobody. There was nobody because there was no internet, basically, isn't it? So we couldn't communicate and find people. So I published this first book, probably the first book ever published about butterflies and moths of Portugal. Borboletas da Serra da Lousã. So Lousã is a mountain very near my city, and it was quite interesting, a lot of interesting things that I never saw in my life, of course. And it's mostly paintings, water paintings. So I projected the pictures and do the white paintings and then transfer to the book. So it's a quite interesting book, very old, from 98, and they're not on sale anymore, of course, it's been a while. And then later, 2 years later, I thought about conservation because there was nothing, no plans of conservation in Portugal, and there's still none. So 25 years after, there's still nothing. But I did this first book, conservation of butterflies. What should we do to conserve the butterflies? How are the habitats in Portugal? Which species are endangered? But this is all, can you imagine, you in the country without nobody else, knowing nobody else, and just going around the country finding butterflies and moths and trying to see what is in common. Oh, I can see this one a lot, like Vanessas. I can see a lot of Vanessas, but then like the tiny ones or something could be the Lorquini or could be the mediums. Oh, I saw once in my life, in 5-6 years, I only saw one, so they must be very rare. So things like that, well, just trying to do something for Portugal, basically. Later on in 2003, internet was already starting, and then you could search online, oh, let me see if there's Portuguese books. And then you start finding things in English, a lot of books in English and some in Spanish also. And then that's when you start to invest, and that's when your pockets are starting to get empty, because books can cost 150, 200 pounds. They're super expensive, the good ones, of course. And that's when you start buying some books. Of course, you buy everything. You can see the books that I have there, they are quite random books. So you buy everything that you see. You don't care if they're good or not. You never saw one book of this one, so you just buy and buy and buy until you make a collection. And so at this time, I met finally the first Portuguese guy that worked with butterflies, and also mostly butterflies, called Lusoborboletas. I'm not sure if you guys ever saw this book, As Borboletas de Portugal. So that was the first book with all the butterflies of Portugal, with maps and description in Portuguese, but quite good, first one ever. And those are some of the people that collaborated for the book, and then they become my best friends and everything else. So especially Fernando Romão and Eduardo that you already know from probably the last meeting. Yeah. So with the internet, so we start to create groups, especially with the Yahoo. I don't know if you remember. At that time, there was a lot of Yahoo groups that you could do. So this for the Facebook, basically, and that's when you start to try to show people that the work that you're doing, like doing moth traps, and then you collaborate with the Portuguese Conservation Institute, because there was nobody studying, and I was posting so many things. They contact me, can you help us doing these big posters on the nature reserves? So most of these pictures from the nature reserves are mine, and they put this photo. Of course, most of these are already down, people just painted over it and things like that, but you try to do something. And then of course I've been around the world also. Most of the times I've been working, but I always take my time on the side and do my moth traps, or do a bit of 1 or 2 days going up after butterflies and moths. So I do have things from great parts of the world. And then of course I try to collaborate because now I'm living in UK, I try to collaborate in nature reserves or farms that are trying to protect the meadows, for example, where we have a lot of butterflies, and so we come on the news and newspapers and things like that. So it's just trying to bring attention to people. So the website itself started right in 2000 when the internet started to come out. At the time it was called Borboletas no Sapo, butterflies on the frog, or sapling's frog. But this is just one of the brands of internet companies called Sapo. So that's why we made it Borboletas no Sapo. Funny or not, we had at the time when we started 56 species on the website, and it was fantastic. Opening the website and having 56 species of mostly butterflies, it was like, wow, first one ever with butterflies in Portugal. So it was amazing. Yeah, I described a bit what I did. So I did use my 6x zoom optic camera, and I had to convert everything to the computer, and then you can imagine it was a pain. It would take hours sometimes to convert a small cassette videotape to the computer, and then take the frames of the videos to create this kind of picture. So all of these are from videos, and from that time, from around 2000. And you can see Castilhos Marshali already here. I don't know if you know the butterfly, but we're talking about around the year 2000. He was already invading Portugal, so it was like very fast. So after that, 2005, things just evolved, as you can imagine. As the internet gets better and easier, and you start to contact and meeting people, and starting sending emails and things like that, so you end up start to create a group, and that's basically when the idea of creating the Yahoo group, Lusoborboletas, so that's where the name already came out for the present website. And with that, basically, going back a bit in time when we started, you always, in Portugal, it's very easy to find new things, so, and even butterflies. So in 2001, me and Fernando Romão and António Luís Campos, we went to Montezinho, I don't know if you know the Montezinho, so north of Portugal, and we were just like doing this, oh there's another butterfly, oh there's another butterfly, and suddenly we got a ringlet, so alcornocales iberantus, and it was the first record for Portugal. It was never seen in Portugal, and this was in 2001. So it's incredible, you just doing this and suddenly you have a new species. Of course we were like, wow, is it possible? But yeah, there's been recently more butterflies being found in Portugal, new ones. And then that same butterfly came out in the National Geographic. So we managed to get a nice picture. And then this guy, António Luís Campos, is a professional photographer. And of course, he used to publish things for National Geographic. So we had like, Portugal, the National Geographic with a new species for Portugal. So it was quite rewarding and interesting to have that.
Which species?
So the ringlet, the Alcornocales iberantus.
Oh, the real ringlet. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll put it here. So it's basically this one.
Okay.
There. So the picture is not very good, but it's a double page National Geographic, so we were kind of very happy with that. And after this one, so this was our first Portuguese publication on National Geographic about a butterfly in Portugal. And then we had another, so we did a moth session and we also did the same thing and it came out also. So the previous one came out also on the National Geographic, this one, about the moths. So this was the first publication of Portuguese moths in Portugal on the National Geographic. So again, in the moth trap, you can see a lot of blue boxes, and all of those blue boxes are reused boxes that will go to the bin from, I'm not going to say it, but it's kind of strange, but plastic boxes that were going to the bin after they're open, and I just start collecting them and then use it for the moths, and it came on the National Geographic. Incredible. Anyway, it was free, that's why. So after that, so things evolved and we started to be more active. There was the European Moth Nights that Portugal started to participate, and as soon, I think there was not much, Europe was not really very involved in this. There was not many countries on these European Moth Nights. And as soon as we started, there was like just 3 or 4 of us doing in Portugal. But we will do it, it was like 3 nights or something, and we will do it quite intensively. So we got a lot of species, and then one of the years, we were the country with more species. I said, how is it possible? Small country with more species than all the group of the European Moth Nights. But I think it was because maybe groups like Spain or even UK, probably they didn't participate, or they were very few people participating, so that's why the numbers probably were lower on those groups. So this was the first, more, how can I say, the first website after that small one with 56 species, that we had more information and that people could search for more things. So we had already the vision on moths, so Mariposas, nocturnas, butterflies, micro butterflies, micro Mariposas, the tiny ones, and then we had a couple of things that people could connect. So Tagis is a conservation group created, that we created also. We had a lot of Tagis as, what do you call it, borboletario, where you have the butterflies and you have the net around and stuff like that. So they also created that at the same time. I mean, it was interesting because it attracted a lot of schools. A lot of kids start to understand what the butterflies were, all the caterpillars would evolve. And that was, even if I didn't like these things very much, I saw there was a positive impact having the kids, the schools going there, and they seeing the caterpillars and how they transform the cocoon. So that was a positive thing. But at the moment they closed already. We do have their insectarium virtual, as you can see. So So it means that at that time I was already trying to connect everyone, so trying to connect other groups from Europe and Spain. And I do have collaborators, so anyone that could help, like most of you guys or some of you guys have helped me with pictures from all over the country, or Spain, or even Germany, or even America. I have pictures from America, from species that exist in Portugal, randomly or occasionally, and people send me pictures from there, so I have pictures from all over the world for our website. And this is just now to compare when we started in 2000 and now how are we in 2023? Because this year we already have enough species. So by the year 2000, there was no knowledge at all how many species there were in Portugal. We could try to find the number if you have the Avives Moreno catalog. So you could see some of the species with the Portuguese reference there, but there was a lot of things missing. A lot of species that were already collected by me or by Eduardo or by Agostinho Maravilhas that information never got to Avives Moreno. So there was a lot of things missing. So basically we didn't know how many species we had. We didn't know that basically. So when we started at SM, we had 56 species on the website. In 2000, it was incredible. And then only by 2015, finally, we compiled everything. Martin Corley, as some of you guys know, goes to Portugal a lot of times. He was going mostly to the Algarve in the 80s and the 90s, and then we start pushing him to come to the north, and then that's when everybody start to meet and gather, putting the moth traps like we are doing now. And so it made this group with everyone's collaboration, Lepidoptera of Portugal continental, so just mainland. And in 2015 there was 2,588 species. There was already a very good number basically on the list. But just go back in time a bit, just to show that in 2007 I published with Martin, because there was a work that I did in my city, Coimbra. So that's Baixo Mondego is the river that crosses my city, the big river, the main river that forms in Portugal. An ideal work. So Baixo Mondego is like a valley, yeah, with crops and rice, corn. So very few corners with the whole trees or natural vegetation. So a lot of things agriculture. Still some islands around, so I mostly went to those islands looking for species. And so I started this in around 2002 to 2005, and published in 2007 573 species, with 29 species new for Portugal. You can imagine a work of 4 years and you have 29 new species for a country. It's unbelievable. And 8 were new for Iberia, so they were not being recorded also in Spain. So that shows that there was still a lack of information going around Portugal and Spain. So that was hard work. I was doing moths almost every week, once a week, not every day, but once a week, and I was already happy. But my moth way of doing it, I would stay mostly all night. I would turn the light on at 8 o'clock at night, and I would go home at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I will do basically the moth trap all night, and then I would sleep. But it was hard work, but it was good results. But now to compare 23 years after, basically. So at the moment, so from 2015, we almost got 200 species more. So in I don't know, how much is it? 12 years, around 12 years, we got almost 200 species extra added to Portugal. So we are in 2,760. But if we had Açores and Madeira Islands, we are close to 3,000 species, and that's incredible. That's a very good number, basically. But the most extraordinary thing, of course, will be how many pictures do we have in our website, in our Portuguese website. So we were with 56, and now we have 2,102. And that's like, wow. We have around 1,000 species of moths, so the macro moths, the Mariposas, and we have only 12 that we don't have pictures. And those 12 are some species that we don't really know if they exist in Portugal. They vary with records from the 1800s and beginning of the 1900s. So they might not really exist in Portugal, but still, it's incredible the number. Of course, we have close to 3,000, so that number is related with 3,000 because I include Madeira and Açores in my website. So we are still around 800 species that we are missing. But as you can imagine, most of it is micromoths. Okay, micromoths is the ones that are more difficult. Not only because you can take a picture, but you don't know what it is, and then you have to do genitalia, not everyone does. So that's why we lack still a lot of micromoths from the website. So, as you can imagine or see, all this website was done by one person, me. So all the structure, all the contents, I'm not a specialist on website building and stuff, but I don't care. I just study it. I learned how to do it. And once I met this website called Wix, it's not the easiest one, but at that time, 2014, it was free. It's still free, I believe. You can still build a free website on Wix, but you have to have the Wix on the name. So basically, it will be like that one. You had my name and then wix.com, Lusoborboletas. So the website was called like that because I was not paying anything. I didn't have money. But in 2021, we finally got the domain, and the reason was because of the groups, Facebook groups, Portuguese butterflies, or Borboletas de Portugal, Borboletas em Portugal. So there's like 2 or 3 groups about butterflies that include Portugal. And then what I did was, I just asked in the group, do you guys want to have a website that is our own? It belongs to us, it belongs to the group of butterflies. And everybody says yes, everybody says they will collaborate. So basically I just opened what do you call it, like a charity thing. I said, look, the website costed, I think it cost around £300 for 3 years. So it's around £100 a year. Divided by, I don't know, the group has like 5,000 people. I said, look, the group is 5,000 people, the Portuguese group of butterflies. It's incredible. So if everyone gives £1, that's already a lot of money. So that's basically, so that was basically it. Everybody collaborated, give £1 or £2, and after a while I had like enough. I had 300 and something, and I ended up also hiring one of the week's guy, and he gave me some help to build like the search bar and everything. So I hope this works. Sorry, just trying to see if this works and transfer to that side. Not yet. There's this one. Oh. Maybe we need to transfer this to that side. Aha! There's always a way. So this is basically the website itself. When you open the Lusoborboletas PT, and I just created this for us, basically, for this presentation. I came and I added English and Spanish. So if you press English, hopefully this will be more or less correct. So Lusoborboletas Portuguese butterflies and moths. So it's much easier for anyone that is easy to understand. The English was a very Google translated, so it might not be very correct, but it's a beginning, basically. This is just to show that it is possible to ameliorate it a bit and make it more international, if I can say. And then we have the Spanish version. See if it works. Yeah. Mariposas de Portugal. I think I can say like this, yeah? I'm not sure if there's another way of saying to generalize the butterflies of Spain, if I can say just mariposas, or if you have a different expression. I mean, this can be easily modified and adapted. So basically we have, this is just in history, the beginning, this is the butterflies, so daylight moths, so this is probably not yet changed, maybe not, but anyway. So butterflies, moths, micro moths, Madeira Islands, Azores Islands, biology, as a bit of study, a bit of It explains a bit of what a moth, what's the difference between a moth and a butterfly and things like that. So it's, if he doesn't know, then it's fine. And the motor de brusqueda. Let's see. I don't think this is opening. I think the internet is not helping. Let's see if I can open at least here. Oh, connection. Oh, I didn't lost the connection completely. Conecta bien. I don't know if there's any issues with the internet. I wanted to show you what I was doing as. Do I do anything here? Do you know if I can continue or?
It's possible, Alec?
Do you know? Can I?
Perhaps many devices connected or something similar.
Sure. I can try to see if I can connect it.
Okay.
Perhaps not.
I could the transmission in direct in my phone, and you try to connect again. Okay?
Perdona, es al margen mientras lo arreglan. Para la comida, vegetariano, ¿quiénes son aparte de él?
It's working now?
Solo vosotros dos, ¿no?
So, that's
You
vegetarian.
and you.
Sí.
Maybe
Todo.
asking if anybody else is vegetarian for lunch.
Vale, es que voy a llamar de restaurante.
Solamente dos. Gracias.
Vale. ¿Ya?
¿Y okay ahora?
Pedro, it's okay now?
Creo que mejor 2:30. Porque
It's
no
not
vamos a
opening.
terminar la charla.
12:30 o 12?
As far as I can see here.
Ah,
I think,
sí.
porque 2 is very...
Shall I do disconnect here?
Okay?
I disconnected.
Huh?
I disconnect. Now I am disconnected.
Yeah. Shall I disconnect and connect again? What will I ask again?
Try to connect again.
Will I ask for the password?
Ah,
Sorry.
I wanted to show you the last
Brian.
one. Let's try to connect.
¿Cuál levanta la
Maybe we
mano?
have to manage without, sorry.
No, it's going to ask me to connect again.
Yeah.
Okay, then I can just say, if you connect now, let's see if it works.
So have to manage without.
Okay, okay. Just to finish, basically, I want to show you what is the plan for the future. What am I trying to achieve also coming here and try to do this presentation is because I think we might be able to evolve in the future to something more interesting and more Iberian instead of being just Portuguese, because there is a lot of species that basically are recorded along the Portuguese border, but they were never seen in Portugal. And we don't have that information, so Portuguese side, we don't know, if you have like a incredible species just on that corner, and on the other side is the Portuguese border. So we could have more species in Portugal, but we just don't know, we don't have that information. So the idea is, this is a butterfly, but the idea is to create something like this. So on the website, where we can have a sort of a map that we don't catch just Portugal, but we can catch at least part of Spain. I don't think it's all Spain, unless it becomes more interesting to have all Spain. But I think at the beginning, to have mostly of what's happening around the borders of Portugal and Spain, he might tell us that there's a species right on the Tagus River, right on the border from Portugal. That could be something rare and even something important for the conservation and things like that. And then, if the Portuguese group has that information, we can go there, or we can try to plan, or we can even invite you guys. So, do you want to come to our side of the border and join us and do the moth trapping there? You know what I mean? And that way we can collaborate with each other and find species. And we can work the other way around. There is, you guys are looking for a species that is super rare in Spain, and then you go to our website and you see, oh, they have a dot right there. Oh, I live just nearby. When did they saw it? Okay, they have the record. I don't have here, there's a lot of information missing, as you can see. Flight period, distribution, food published things. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, if we put something that is new and somebody else sees it and goes there and then finds it and might try to publish first, and that, because that happened in Portugal, so that's why we try not to do this type of things. Try to be more clear. So that's basically it. So I don't know if you have questions, what do you think about this idea? Just let me know. Pode ser em espanhol? Eu percebo, mas a maioria dos clientes em inglês.
Gracias.
Thank you. It was really and belonging to Sheila or belonging to...
So, at the moment, most of the Portuguese papers are going for Sheila. Yeah. Martin Colley, João Nunes, Eduardo Marabuto. So most of, the main people that publish are not many in Portugal. Maybe 5 of us publish. But the group is big. So at the moment, we might have around 100 people. And from these 100 people, we might have maybe 20 to 25 dots in Portugal where people do moths. So there's, we created, a couple of years ago, we created the Rede de Borboletas Nocturnas. And when we created that group, we basically start sending people emails or posting on our Facebook group saying, if you want to make your garden a spot for Portugal, let us know and we will help you. So a lot of people didn't know anything about moths. They would take a picture, say, we don't know what we're doing, we're just taking pictures. So they got a trap, take pictures, send to this Rede de Borboletas to us, and then we'll say, okay, you have this, this and this, okay, this one is impossible to identify, or just a genus we could give, and then people start to learn. So, oh, I know this one because he identified me already the last time. Oh, I thought I had this and this and this and this, so it's growing basically, but it's growing exponentially. And in the last decade, it's number, as I said, the group has around 5,000 or more people, but doing moths, maybe there's around 100 people, were divided by around 20 places, 25 places. And publishing will be Martin Corley, will be me, Eduardo, João Nunes, it might be more 1 or 2 basically. So it's not more than 10, so it's below 10 people publishing with the words.
Pedro,
Yep.
si para muestrear se necesitan permisos en Portugal.
Agora sim. And let's just say, like the last decade, the Conservation Institute of Portugal is being more strict. And basically they now want you to request, to send a letter or an email requesting to the moth traps. Surely a lot of people do it without the authorization. In Portugal, maybe 90% of the people do it without authorization. Especially if you are doing in the garden or in the farm or private land, nobody asks for authorization. But if you are going to a nature reserve, like if you're going to Serra da Estrela, for example, the highest mountain in Portugal, and you do a moth trap, there's a 50-50 chance that you might have the police, and they might ask what you're doing, and you can say, I'm just taking pictures. So if you're taking pictures, they don't know if you're taking the bugs or the moths with you or not. And even if they see the pots, say, I'm keeping the moths to take the pictures. So it's very difficult in Portugal. I think it's still not, how can I say, it's still not needed to do it, but there is a chance that if the police comes and they are the bad guys that are not very good, then they might just say, oh, I have to find you because, where is your paper authorization and stuff. So they are becoming more restricted.
And you ask for those permits directly to Sheila?
No, you have to ask for the Portuguese Conservation Institute. Yeah. They have a person. When they started around 10 years ago, I was the one giving the authorizations. So the Institute of Conservation will send me the emails of those people saying, oh, these guys want to do moth traps. Shall we authorize them or so? So they will send me the project, and most of the projects were related to bats. So there was a lot of groups working with bats that they would do moth traps to see what bats were flying in the area. So counting the moths and stuff like that to have an idea of how much bats and stuff. But at the moment, no, I think they have really like a department already for now for sampling and collections and things like that. So I think it's, if you are a foreigner, if you're going from, I think probably it's better to ask for a permit, I suspect. Just not to take the sense. Unless, as I said, if you're going to a friend's house or a garden or something, then you don't. But if it's a nature reserve, it's better to have a permit. And I don't think you pay for anything. I don't think you have to pay. I think it's just, they will say yes, you have a permit or not.
So, if you went to Gaspar Marine or something like that, would you have to first get authorization from the Portuguese ICN and then from the reserve, or can you just do it from the reserve?
No. So you ask only for the Conservation Institute. You don't ask the reserve.
Oh, okay. So
Technically, because the Portuguese reserves don't work.
okay.
So you don't find anyone there.
I do know about 20 years ago I tried to get a permit from Mothtrap, and they said a huge form, it's like I was going to cut the links. Like you have to fill out all these.
Oh my God.
It was terrible.
No, 20 years ago you wouldn't need it. You wouldn't need it because,
Well, they said I did in Arabia, so
well, probably, yeah, but just,
yeah.
it was easier to just do it and that's it. Yeah. But,
Eduardo está viendo la transmisión en directo.
huh?
Eduardo Marabuto is looking the
Oh, really? Oh,
and
that's
send a message that he want to stay here.
Yes, I know, yeah.
You can say hello to Eduardo.
Eduardo, yeah, probably you guys already know Eduardo. He's one of the best lepidopterologists in Portugal, and he's very good in moths also. And he published a lot of papers and new species and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Listo?
Eso.
Second one?
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Okay.
Thank you.